I'm glad to see everyone coming on. I'm just going to grab my apron and then we can get started. Today I decided to start the live a bit early so I can have more people on when I start to paint. That way I probably, hopefully, won't have to answer too many questions. Because last time I kind of just got right into it. So, yeah, let's see. I think I'm going to wait for just a few more people. Hello. Hey, everyone. Yeah, then we can get started. So just a quick recap, what we did, we basically did his whole face. So all I really have to do with the parrot now is probably build out the rest of his head and his body in maybe an abstract, hopefully street art way. And then we can move on to this, which you guys are probably wondering what this is. You might be able to tell already. This is actually a sketch that I did with oil pastel, and it is a rose. Now, I thought this would be kind of a cool idea because it's a bit different from what I did last time, but it's still kind of similar to the old parrot that I did. So, I think we have enough people on. I can start mixing some paint. Oh, yes, thank you very much. Hit the like button if you like it, or if you like seeing these streams. So right now I have a bit of white on my palette. This is all dry, so I don't have to worry about that. It is a bit of a mess from last stream, but that's all right because I don't really care about messes that much. So I think what I'm going to do is start off with the body. And maybe it would be a cool idea if I could, maybe instead of having it realistic at the bottom, I can make it look like it's just a bunch of like geometric shapes, maybe building up to it, made of the same colors that its body is made from. All right, I'm going to read this comment really quick. I tried looking for you on Instagram, and there are a few of you. Can you put a link in the description of your Instagram? Uh, I think if Matthew, if you're on, if it would be. Oh, not sure if I just lost the live feed, but yeah. Am I back on? I hope so. Yeah, it's Steven Draws, but with a Z. So Steven and then Draws with a Z. And my profile picture is of the skull that I drew, and it's got like a bunch of like vegetation growing out of it. So right now what I'm doing is I'm gonna start with well, maybe a triangle. Why not? It's not gonna be perfectly crisp, but I don't really want it to be perfect. I want it to look abstract. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, that's the link for my Instagram. I post a lot of paintings. They actually a lot of the paintings that don't make it on YouTube make it to Instagram. So if you're interested in any of my recent artworks, feel free to check that out. So right now what I'm doing is I'm just going to add some random shapes with this blue color, as you can probably see. Let's see. I should be able to find it with that. All right, that's perfect. Okay, so I'm going to add like maybe a square here. And again, this is just my first color. Oh, not again, I didn't mention this before, but this is going to be my first color. And I'm going to keep layering the shapes on top, kind of like a collage thing that I'm going to have going on of shapes. So well, I'm actually gonna probably have to grab a different color because I'm not really feeling this. It doesn't really match the rest of the drawing. So I'm gonna come in with a darker blue, which shouldn't be too hard. I'm just gonna add a bit more of that blue that I used to mix in there, like so. And then we can get into it, all right, into adding more shapes. After this, I'll be painting the flower over here, probably with a blue tone, because I think it would match pretty cool with the parrot we have going on over here. And yeah, That seems like a good color. I'm just going to add a bunch of random shapes with this. This time I also grabbed a bit of a different brush. The one that I'm using is the same one from last live feed. It's just the short boar bristle brush that I crazy glued a spark plug to because it gives me a better grip on the brush. But I also grabbed another round bristle brush. Hopefully it's on the desk. It is not. That's all right. I'll manage without it. I have two different brushes this time. Since I want to be drawing relatively detailed rows and I don't want it to be super uneven, I'm going to have a flat brush. I'm going to go grab it really quick to show you. This one right here. And this gives a lot smoother of lines than the short boar bristle brush that I'm using right now. So pretty soon I'm going to change to that. And I'm going to take a little moment to read the comments. Let's see. Oh, I see. All right. Well, my internet is acting up. Hopefully it isn't buffering for you guys as well. That might be on my end. I have basement internet. Oh, thank you very much. Let's see. Beautiful job, Stephen. You have a good night. Oh, thank you very much. You too. I really appreciate all the donations that go into this. It actually really helps me with buying art supplies, which is what I'm going to have to be doing soon because I'm running a bit low, especially on paint. I'm not sure if I mentioned this on my last live feed, but I might as well mention it now. Cool little art tip that I learned from my dad. You can actually buy the sample tins of wall paint at Home Depot, and they give you like relatively large tins of what essentially is just thinner acrylic paint. So if you're doing like relatively thin paintings on the canvas, you should just go for that because it's only like $8 and you get a lot more. You get a lot more paint for a lot less. Or what I've noticed. So now I think I might come in with a bit of yellow. Oh, it's going to be kind of like a light green. So I have my little tube here. I'm going to add it to my little in the corner of the palette. Then I'll use the blue inside of the brush to mix it. Now, hopefully I'll get a very light yellowy green from this. And I think that's exactly what I have right here. Right in the corner there. Almost matches perfectly with this, just a tad lighter. So now I'm going to roll off the excess on the brush here. Oh, also something kind of nice about this brush is I don't have to really worry about the paint drying in it because I can really just scrub the paint out really quickly. So I'm actually transitioning to, oh, maybe I shouldn't do that yet because I want to save that for the blues. So I think I might just stick with the brush that I already have. I was about to grab my flat brush that I just showed you guys, but that might not be a good idea for right now. So now I'm going to add the green, kind of matches the green up here and down here, and add a couple little lines and little cubes, whatever kind of random shapes I want. Because in the end, it doesn't really matter as long as it looks interesting. And I don't want it to be super perfect, so I'm going to put an extra one just out there because why not? Like so. Oop, no, that's not that's not what I wanted to do. All right. So I think I don't need that much green, but I'm going to just put an extra little streak on here, maybe one down here. Then I can move to yellow, a very bright green. Let's see. Uh, yeah, grass green. And hello to everyone joining the live feed now. I started 10 minutes early. I think I'm on my proper scheduled time now, just so I had a little bit more time to let more people come on. All right, so I'm going to switch to my light palette, right here, and I'm going to add a tiny bit of yellow. And you'll notice both of my palettes are just recycled box lids and yogurt tin lids or yogurt container lids because I didn't want to have to look for my actual paint palettes. They're probably somewhere. I managed to misplace an entire paint palette, but whatever, as long as it works. So I got my yellow, and I'm gonna scooch this camera down just a tiny bit so you guys have a better view of what I'm doing. I'm gonna add a yellow little streak right here, and that actually isn't dried yet, so it just kind of mixed in. I'm gonna have to come back there and paint that over again because it does not look great, unfortunately. That's all right. I'm gonna add a little triangle at the bottom, little whatever this is, just random lines. Does not have to be perfect because that is the opposite of what I want. And I personally don't think there's such thing as perfect art. It's all in the eye of the beholder. So like something that another artist would find, you know, they hate it, or for like some of my pieces, I genuinely don't like them, but other people seem to really like them. All right, so I'm gonna keep adding a little more yellow because there is quite a bit of light greenish yellow in this parrot. And then I think after that, I might add a little bit of pink because although it's not super easy to see right now, there definitely is pink in this up here and in his cheek area. Hello, everyone. Hi, everyone who is joining. All right, so I'm going to add a little bit of random streaks of color in his head. And at the beginning of the live feed, or at the end of my last live feed, I did say I would try my hardest not to tweak it. Well, I'm a liar. I immediately went to try to tweak it, uh, but then I kind of backed off a bit because I didn't want to finish this before my next live feed. That would kind of diminish the whole purpose of doing this. All right, so now that I have all of my random little streaks of color, I'm going to let these dry, and then I can move on to the flower I have going here. I'm going to read the comments really quick. Let's see. I used to use an ice tray once for mixing. That's actually a good idea because it keeps the paint separated. All right, so I'm going to mix a bit of a bluish green, which is very easy for me to make right now because I got lots of yellowy green and lots of blue. So I think, yeah, I guess a bluish green would be a turquoise, and that is what I've achieved here. So I'm just going to roll off the excess like I usually do to prevent it dripping on the painting, and I'm going to start on this rose leaf here. I used to draw lots of roses before I started painting, but that was with markers. So I've never actually painted a rose before. So you guys are witnessing it first from me. Hopefully it turns out good. But even if it doesn't, I hopefully will learn something from it. And again, the outline is oil pastel. So when I'm done, I can just paint over it. Get a bit of an outline. And the nice thing about oil pastel is when you paint over it, it actually adds a bit of a shadow underneath. When you use the same color, of course. I accidentally painted the wrong part. This is actually the little curvy in part of the speech bubble, so I'm going to have to cover that with blue once I'm done. I'm going to mix in lots more blue. Maybe I'm going to mix, yeah, I'm going to mix the green in, and the green and the yellow, and here. So now when I do the leaf, it should be a bit bluer. Yeah, all right. Now I'm going to add my bluish color to this leaf as well. And maybe just on where the parts I think the shadow would be. And I did it again. You know what? Maybe it's a happy accident. Hopefully. I'll just say it is. I might be lying to myself, but I'll say it is. I'm going to fill this leaf in Then I'm going to start moving into the blue of the flower. And this is actually going to be hanging in my parents' room, hopefully, unless I completely botch it today, which is not my intent. But if I do, I probably I probably won't force my mom and dad to put that in their room. All right, so I'm going to, oh, by the way, I probably should have shown that on camera, but I added more blue to my palette here. I'm just going to mix it in, and it's mostly a dark blue now. There isn't really much green. And what I'm doing now is just adding the shadows because when you're painting, or I find when you're painting, the best thing you can do is start with your shadows. So I'm going to come in wherever there's oil pastel, do a little bit of shadow action, shading, whatever you want to call it. Like so. And again, the oil pastel is actually mixing in with it to create even cooler shadows, as you might be able to see. I'm going to read the comments really quickly. Let's see. Well, it looks wonderful. Good kid. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate your guys' support. Uh, if my dad is watching this right now, thank you very much for the shout out, Dad. He actually shouted me out on his live feed that he had at 4 o'clock today, which was pretty cool of him. So maybe that's where some of you guys are coming from. All right, so what I'm doing now is just filling in the shadows, and it's becoming more and more drier of a brush, so it's getting grayer and grayer because it's mostly oil pastel at this point. Let's see. I'm going to read the comments again. I'm babysitting a scarlet macaw. Such magnificent birds, intelligent and friendly, but loud. I've always kind of wanted a parrot. Never really thought about a scarlet macaw before, but I would assume they're pretty loud. My cousins actually own birds. They have pet birds, and according to them, they are a very loud pet to own. So I guess you kind of you kind of have to be a little bit deaf to own birds and be peaceful at the same time. They're cute. I give them that. I learned recently. I'm pretty sure. What's it called? Just a regular crow. They have like the same intelligence as like, or the same comprehension skills as a 7-year-old child, a human child, which I think is pretty cool. I would just double check to Google that because I don't want to be feeding you guys false information, but you know, I think that's pretty cool. Crows are apparently the smartest bird that exists so far, and they actually have their own justice system, kind of. Like when an adult crow steals from the baby crows, uh, the crows will kind of surround them in a circle and then, banish them from the area or something like that. They also, it's turning into just a random crow fact live feed instead of whatever is going on here. Also, they have like really good recognition when it comes to faces, so they can like warn each other when they see a human face that caused them distress before. Or at least, I'm pretty sure. Let's see. They're actually quite intelligent. It's actually illegal to own. It's illegal to own a crow? I did not know that. My voice decided to crack the second I got on this live feed. It was fine all day today until now. Because apparently, my voice hates me. Well, I'll live. Voice cracks are only natural. I think this flower is turning out kind of good. So I'm just going to finish adding the shadows and we can wait for it to dry while we work on something else on the bird. I'm actually kind of liking this color of blue, so I'm probably going to add little dashes underneath the bird, try to make it blend in more. And this is kind of where the rose ends, so I'm just going to fill this completely in with blue. I will later fill it in with a darker color so it doesn't all kind of clash. Hopefully it doesn't clash, but you know, I did literally no planning before this. I guess we'll see. I probably should have done planning before this. Most of uh most of my drawings are kind of just winging it. A little bit ironic because I'm drawing a bird and I'm winging it, but I very rarely plan, which is what my art teacher is trying to fix when I do my little paintings, my little artworks. Well, let's see. Uh, we raised a rescued baby crow to adulthood and oh wait, hold on. We rescued a baby and raised a baby crow to adulthood and freedom. Lots of stories. Yes, they are extremely intelligent. Apparently they can talk too. I've seen a couple videos, but I wasn't 100% sure if they were true or if they were real. I'm pretty sure they're real though. Crows can talk, right? All right, I'm going to wait for that to dry. Kind of looks like a rose. And I can move in with, blending this in. Because if I don't, it's going to look kind of weird. Little shapes. All it takes are little shapes. That song, that little tune that was in my head, should have stayed in my head. Sorry about that. All right, I'm gonna add like a little square because they're mostly just little lines and triangles, not a whole lot of other shapes in here. I guess I'm in a very, what can I say, line and triangling mood. Nah, that doesn't make any sense. Whatever. Oh, and now it's starting to blend back in with the same color that I started with. So I think I'm just going to let that dry. And I'm going to hold the camera up a little bit closer so you guys can see what we have done so far. We got the rose, got the weird little dashes underneath them. And now I think maybe I'm going to add a little bit more detail with the rose. Oh, that might have been a little bit too much paint on there. That's all right, I'll live. I'm covering the camera a little bit. My bad. Now, a group of crows is called a murder. A group of larks. Oh, let's see. It's called. Oh, and I can't read that word. That's all right. I didn't want to pretend that I knew what I was saying. I knew that a group of crows was called a murder because I didn't believe someone the first time I heard it. I was like, no, it can't be called that. I think that was in like, what, fifth grade? When I first found it out. I used to have a lot of friends who were really big on animals. Like a group of lions is called a pride, stuff like that. Um, is it let's see. Is it buffering at all? Is it buffering for you guys? Because for some reason it is for me. Crows can talk. They can also steal your shiny things. Had one on a farm one time. Yeah, I've heard they do that. They're pretty smart birds. I'll give them that. I really quite like crows. Maybe I should do a painting of a crow next time. I think that would be cool. I'm just gonna fill this in with blue. I don't want it to match with the leaves. That is not what I'm going for. There. And now it kind of looks like a flower. Now, excuse me while I step back and get a better look at what I just did. Yeah, it's all right. I like how it's looking so far. I'm going to come in with a bit of white. I didn't have enough space to put it on my desk last time, and this time I neglected the fact that I needed space to put it on. Whatever, it's fine. I'll live. I think I'll make a very light blue with this white. That way I can get some highlights on that flower because it looks really bad from far away, and I that's how I kind of assess what my drawings look like. I have to take a step back, see it from a different angle. All right, so I'm gonna start working on that. And actually, maybe I'm gonna add a little more shapes on here first, because why not? Like just randomly everywhere. No particular pattern. Paint wherever you want. In the end, I don't think it, or in the end, when you're done the painting, I don't think it'll matter as long as it kind of looks good. I'm gonna back this up a little bit. And you know what? I don't think the geometric shapes are working. I don't. So what I'm gonna do now, because it doesn't really match the rest of the painting, although that was my intention at first, I regret it. So I'm gonna keep like some of them, but I'm mostly gonna paint over it and try to make it match with the rest of the bird. It was all trial and error in the end, so whatever. And maybe if I fill it in and I just keep kind of the shapes, it'll look cool. Like so. And this again will not be my first layer. I'm going to add other colors on top to make it match better. Hopefully. Hopefully I remember to do that. We'll keep the other colors kind of in there. I'm going to read some more of the comments to see if you guys like that idea. Oh, beautiful. I have a drawing in my channel. Hopefully, oh, let's see. Hopefully, you could give your comment for my, oh, improvements. The comments keep scrolling by really fast, so it's hard to finish what you're reading. All right, I'll make sure to check it out after. And I'll give my opinion. I think most artists that I see, I know it's kind of hard for, excuse me, kind of hard for me to judge art because I never really, never really see anything wrong with other people's drawings. I always see like how pretty something is, so it's kind of hard for me to critique them. It's really easy for me to critique my own though, because I am very self-critical. Very self-critical indeed. All right, I'm just going to add some more highlights, make sure I can see where the edges of the petals are so I can add more shadows and so on. Just the base colors. And it is definitely starting to look more like a rose, I think. If my mom is watching the live feed, Mom, I'm pretty sure I left the long wooden brush on the black counter upstairs, the black cabinet thing next to the dinner table. So if you're watching this, could you grab that for me, please? Thank you. I hear I hear walking. Hopefully I didn't move it. That would be annoying. Send someone on a task and give them the wrong directions. So yeah, basically what the other brush that I'm going to get soon, hopefully, is it's just a longer version of what this is, so I can get more fine details. Right now all I'm doing is getting the base colors, but not much more than that. There. And it's starting to look like a rose. Your mom is fabulous, Stephen Draws. Yes, she is. I have very, very cool parents. Very lucky to have them. All right, I'm going to. Oh, there we go. Oops. Oh, well, uh, it is not. That's all right. I'll live without it. That's what this is for. Hmm. All right, so I have. I forgot about the flat brush that I brought. Why didn't I just use that? So I'm just going to use this guy to add more details, and it has a pretty wide area or a wide range of textures that it can make. So I'm just gonna mix a bit of white on my palette, and I'm holding the paintbrush with my teeth right now, so I can do three things at once. All right, I was had to close the paint tin and hold my two things in my hand at the same time. All right, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of highlights on top of this, make it look less uh, trashy, I guess. Not really. Make it look a bit better. Whoops, hit the hit the glass. Now, it kind of just mixed in with it and didn't really add too much of a highlight. So hopefully, yeah, I'm gonna have to come back with a different color after this. I doubt there's going to be a part three to this series, but there might be. Probably just where I can sit down, chat with you guys, and show you the finished product of this painting. All right. Oh, and hello to everyone who is joining right now. I see a couple highs in chat, and one really long high. There's a couple eyes in there. All right, I'm just going to add more highlights, um, as you can probably see, and then I'm going to add more detail to the leaves, and that's actually supposed to be a leaf up here. I'm going to have to fill that in soon. Hello, everyone. Hello to the people who are joining right now. And again, thank you guys very much for coming on my live feed. It's always great to see you, read your comments, read your feedback, and paint. Those are all very cool things to do on a weekend. I have a I have a test coming up. I think I mentioned it in my past live stream. I have a test, I think not tomorrow, but on Tuesday that I got to study for. It's a big one. Not looking forward to that. Then again, I'm pretty sure no one looks forward to tests. Unless you're crazy, maybe. Well, maybe you don't have to be crazy to look forward to tests. You just have to ignore how horrible they are. All right, now just mix in the paint in my second little paint thing while I wait for the first one to dry a bit, like so. I filled up a little bit more of that palette than I needed to, so it's going to be kind of useless for any other colors coming up until it's dry, unfortunately. I probably should have thought of that before, but whatever. Now what I'm doing is just adding a bit more shadows on this little darker colored tuft that they seem to have here. I also drew it on the parrot behind me, but now that I'm drawing a more realistic one or painting one, I am seeming to like it less and less. I think that's how I feel about my artwork. When I do something and I'm proud of it, it doesn't last for very long because I then progress and then I see the problems with the one that I did before. Especially the parrot. His eye is way too close. Not this one, the one I put on my wall. His beak is like way too big. This one feels a little bit less cartoony. So I'm happy with that. I'm just going to add a little bit more shadows on his body like so. And this isn't necessarily the kind of brush most people would use on a or on a parrot, on a painting like this, but I don't really care. Whatever works. A lot of my old art teachers would have a very specific list of art supplies that we needed to use, but I always ended up using like ballpoint pens and stuff like that because although it makes it easier to use the specific things, where's the fun in that, you know? Plus, I think my art style developed when I had the messiest room on the planet, and I just had to improvise with my materials that I was using, whatever I could find. Now it's a bit better. Eh, it's all right. It's not as terrible. Now I can actually find the the supplies that I need. Yeah, maybe that's why I'm so good with just random mediums, because I've been painting, drawing with just whatever I can find. So I'm just going to add some lots of shadows this time around when I come back to this. When it's dry, I'm going to add the final highlights and a little more detail. I'm going to add lots of black in this empty area here. And the brush that I'm using is very soft bristles, so I don't necessarily have to worry too much about uh, it blending because it kind of blends itself. It's very light. Maybe that's why I like soft brush bristles a lot as well. The boar brush bristle that I was talking about before has like such firm bristles that I literally can like use it to scrub paint off of an area of a painting that I don't want there. And I'm going to take a step back again and get a good look at what I'm painting. And you know what? It's actually starting to look a little bit, just a little bit like a flower, which thankfully is what I was going for. I'd be a little bit disappointed if I stepped back and it looked like, you know, a dog. Just random scribbles. I think I'm going to bring this to a bit of a point because it looks a bit odd the way it is right now. I don't know why I didn't fill that in when I could have, but, you know, I guess I just neglected it. Sometimes I'll subconsciously start painting random areas on a painting, like I am right now, while I try to think of what I should do next. And, maybe I don't have to do that. I should probably read your guys' comments so I'm not missing out on your guys' input. Let's see. Uh, you should make an Amazon wish list and put the link to it on the description. You might be surprised to see what people will buy for you. Oh, thank you guys very much for that idea, but I can never ask you guys to buy me things. I guess that's kind of what you're doing when you give me a super chat, but I think I might feel guilty if I did that. That is a good idea. I think, oh, actually, the tripod I'm using right now was a gift from a subscriber, and I've been using it as a tripod ever since. So thank you very much. I'm just gonna fill this in. I'm not gonna wait any longer. Now that's a petal. I'm gonna fill that in with some blue. Oh yeah, well, I mean, I would be asking if I put it up. All right, now I'm just gonna add a little bit of detail on here with the black, like this. And I think this is actually turning out pretty good. You know, thank goodness. I mean, if it was turning out really bad, I'd still have to post this live feed and like cringe every time I saw it pop up on my feed. See like my failed drawing getting recommended to people, and then that's how they perceive my art. No, thank you. Oop, all my paints are starting to fall over. That's not what I want. All right. So since this blue paint is still relatively wet, I'm pretty sure I can still use it for the for the petal that I did not fill in yet. Used to be a leaf, and I'm going to add a bit more white to it, make it really bright. It's going to be it's going to be so bright it's essentially just an off-white at this point, but you know, why not? And I think it's turning out okay. Uh, this is not the petal that I'm working on. I just came over to the bottom here to add some depth in his body, I guess. And it looks kind of cool with the little chunks of yellow in there, I think. If I just tilt the camera down. Yeah, that looks kind of cool. Looks like feathers, I think. Let's see. I'm going to put the highlights just on the very top of the petal. I think I'll establish, well, I probably should have established where the light is coming from already, but I did not. Coming head on like from here. So the shadows, oh, in this area, like there. So the shadows would be underneath, like here. Here's where all the highlights would be. I'm going to fill this in like that. And highlights on top, like so. I'm a bit more tired today than I was for my last live feed, so if I go silent for a little bit, it's not because ignoring you guys. It's because I kind of just zoned out. But, I have a tendency to do that. Whatever. I'm pretty sure most artists zone out a little bit when they do their paintings, I think. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm crazy. But I don't think I'm super crazy. I might be right. Well, you guys should tell me in the comments if I'm wrong. Uh, Add a little highlight under here, over here, little bit of what's this? I chose another gassy food for tonight because, well, I mean, I didn't choose, but I was I ate a very gassy food today. Again, this is a problem in the last live feed as well. I had meatballs with gravy, and this time I had chili. What was I thinking? I have a live feed. That's all right. And sound probably changed because I just walked next to the furnace room to take a step back and look at what I was doing. Now this looks cool and all, but it's a bit too dark for me. I think the black in the and this space here was probably not the best call. So I'm just going to lighten it up a bit with the same brush, like so. And I actually learned this from a fellow artist. Instead of shading with black, which is exactly what I did, but whatever. I should shade with the darker color of what I was using. You know, Considering it was such good advice, I probably should have listened to it, but I did not. I got problems. I forget stuff. That's all right. I'm gonna come back with or come in with a little more detail on the leaves. Oh, and down here. And the long brush, if I ever do find it, is going to be for just some very fine outlines. But for the time being, I'm pretty sure I can manage with some oil pastels because in my last live feed, if you guys were there, you'll remember that I said I use oil pastels as a base. So when I paint over it, it kind of shades with the paint. So if I can find that black oil pastel, even though I just finished saying you shouldn't use black, but a darker color what you're using, I'm going to use black and then a darker color so I'm not too much of a hypocrite. And add a little bit of detail, highlight, or was it shadow? I don't know why I couldn't remember the word shadow on here with it. Like so. A little bit of an outline here and here. I probably should just use a paint pen. I have plenty of those. I did a couple videos with them, if you guys remember, with Posca paint pens. I painted a guitar with them. Then I played it quite quite bad, to be honest. It was all right. But if you guys are interested in seeing that after the live feed, you should go back to one of my earlier videos because I did in fact play the guitar for my channel for you guys to see. I'm just gonna add a little bit of shadows in here, a little bit in here. And on the inside of the rose, the reason I'm using black or thought black was a good idea at the time is because when I looked at a picture of a rose before I did this, and I know I usually don't use a reference, but for the rose I had to since it's something I've never drawn before, I noticed that there's a lot of really dark spaces in it since the petals fold pretty far in. I'm going to make these leaves a little bit bluer for now, like so. Maybe add a little highlight on the beak too while I'm here. Had a eventful day today. We went out and fed some birds by hand in a park in our city where the birds are so trusting. It's almost to the point where it's like against their natural instinct to survive. They just fly right into your hand and sit there while they munch on a seed. I actually posted a little while ago while it was still summer, a video of one of the birds sitting in my hand. And it sat there for a pretty long time, like a surprisingly long time. I decided what seed to eat. Oh, and I think I missed a super chat. I just missed it. But thank you very much for the super chat. I think that said Tony Williams. Hopefully, I didn't just botch your name after you gave me money. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. So I'm gonna build a little bit of a petal sticking out because why not? Let's see. Where is this park? It is in Edmonton. It's White Mud Park. There's a little ravine and what's it? Little creek. It's just super nice to walk through. There's a lot of trees, lots of animals. Actually, the squirrels there are super trusting as well, and I almost missed that super chat too. That would have been unfortunate. Thank you very much, Marjorie Brown. Let's see. Oh, I missed it. You're not asking people to buy stuff for you. You're helping them to help you. Oh, no, I can't. Okay. I know that's pardon? Oh, I see. My mom was not talking to me. No, I really appreciate the gesture, and I know I'm not asking for it, but if I post like a link asking for money, when I don't necessarily like, or not asking for money, but asking for art supplies, and I don't necessarily need people to send me things and have to go out of their way to do that for me. I also, people get kind of mad when you ask for money on YouTube, I've noticed, even if it's indirectly. So I just want to make sure that everyone's, including myself, their feelings remain intact. I'm just gonna add a little bit more highlights. But yes, I really do appreciate the gesture. I probably should wait for that to dry before I add more paint to it because it's gonna wreck it if I keep adding more and more layers. As you can see, it's actually getting grayer and grayer as I go. And while we wait, I'm gonna get a little more white, a little more white for the highlights. But before I do that, I'm stepping back to around where the furnace room is so I can get a better look at this again. And I think the rose idea wasn't necessarily a terrible idea. It was a it was an okay idea. I definitely should have planned. But planning's for people who know what they're doing. All right, I made a very light blue, even lighter than before. And again, I'm going to come in and create some highlights. It's kind of a grayish blue, and that's probably because of the oil pastel that I added before this, mixing in with the paint. Um, so what I'm going to do is add some more highlights here. Like so. I say like so much in my videos that it's if you had like a counter, it would probably exceed triple digits at this point. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. I say it quite a lot. Maybe maybe I should get t-shirts that say like so on it. That actually could be kind of a funny idea. I'll have like a t-shirt of like a hand painting a tree and then completely messing it up and then with like a caption saying like so. Accidentally destroy your entire artwork. A lot of the paintings and stuff that I do never reach YouTube because I messed them up in the process. Like I tried to do a painting a little while ago of a lion, but it did not turn out great. I even filmed the whole thing. I was getting ready to edit it, and then I saw it like after a good sleep, and then I realized, that's not that great. I'm sure you guys are all very supportive, though. I'm sure you wouldn't have said anything rude about it. I just am very self-critical for some reason. I have no reason to be. I guess I just challenge myself a lot. All right, I'm going to take another step back. Huh. You know, that's not that bad. Now all I really have to do is turn this light blue into a green, which should not be too hard. I got plenty of yellow. I can make the leaves on this rose look like it's separate from the rest of the blue on there. Now, I accidentally just made a little bit of a too yellowy color right here, so I'm going to add a little bit more blue. I try not to. Oh, I just got paint on my face. Whatever. Oh, super chat. Oh, thank you very much. I'm going to read the comment really quickly. I am pretty invested in this, so if I miss a super chat, I'm really sorry. Keep up the great artwork. We really enjoy it. Oh, thank you very much. Well, I enjoy making it for you guys. And this one in particular for my parents. All right, I'm gonna get some paint out. There we go. So I'm just gonna hopefully get a green from this. Let's see. You sound like your father. I'm sure you. Oh, comment disappeared. Did they disappear too fast? I'm sure you hear that all a lot. The parrot is amazing. Let's see. Oh, and the comment disappeared. Well, thank you very much. Sorry that I didn't read the whole comment. I I lost it. But thank you very much for the support. And I have heard that a lot. I guess I might sound like my old man a little bit, just a little bit. I wonder why. It's almost like I'm related or something. All right, now I'm just gonna add a, my green color to make it look separate from the rest of the painting. Yeah, I definitely need to get that paint off my lip after this. It's like I can feel it drying on my face. Not a fan of that. I'll tell you that much. All right, get a little stem in there as well. And then I can come back with a dark green, probably really soon because it doesn't really matter that much. I just need it to be a shadow. Oop. Yeah, this paint does not want to come out. Super frustrating, but I'm sure I'll manage. Come on. There we go. It keeps drying up on the inside. It's a little annoying. My hands always kind of look like I climbed up a hill made out of or made out of charcoal or something. I don't know. I had like an analogy in my head and then I lost it halfway through. That's the worst. It didn't even make any sense. Whatever, I'll live. All right. I'm going to use my dark green and I essentially just covered the whole palette with it because I'm not going to use that palette again for a little while and make a bit more of a shadow here underneath and in the middle. So just here. Oh, and this one's on its side, so like that. The stem is mostly shadow, and then like that. And I think that looks kind of cool. Both you and your father have the same. Oh, let's see. I keep missing the comments. Both you and your father have the same infection in your voice. Oh, inflection in your voice. And there goes the comment. I'm assuming that we both have there's very similar, tones in our voice. We both have relatively deep voices. I learned to project my voice when I talk. I used to I used to always be, still kind of am, but less because I'm online. I used to always be the speaker for like group projects and everything because I didn't really have any trouble talking to a large group of people. It's a little bit harder when you're talking in front of like a bunch of judgmental teenager eyes that are all looking at you. Their judgment. It's a lot easier when I have a big group of friendly people that I can't see because it kind of just feels like I don't know. It's less intimidating than talking to a big crowd, I feel, which I guess makes sense. It's probably because I can't actually see everyone and their expressions and how they change to what I'm saying. Hmm. I'm just adding a little bit more shadows on the leaves here. Then I'm gonna take a bit of a break and read your guys's, oh, excuse me, and read your guys's comments while I wait for this to dry. I think last time I said I was gonna do that and then I didn't because I am a liar. All right. So the paint on this brush, if it dries, is probably gonna wreck it. Well, I'm gonna let you guys look at that while I take a seat behind and try to clean off my brush as best as possible. And what I'm using right now is just some paper where I'm just rubbing the paint out, and I'm going to fold it on top and kind of squish a decent amount of it out so I don't wreck the paintbrush when it kind of dries. All right, that's probably enough. I'm going to read some comments now. There. You remind me of watching Bob Ross back in the 1990s. Well, thank you very much. Bob Ross is a pretty big inspiration of mine, actually. Super calming to listen to, and he has an afro. I aspire to have an afro. Maybe I should do a Bob Ross remake kind of video where I kind of go through the steps similar to this. Oh, maybe I should just get an afro for live feeds. That might be cool. What do you guys think? Should I get an afro wig for live feeds? Hmm. I'll take the I'll take the silence as a yes. And there's no going back on that. I have to have an afro for live feeds now. I think right after this live feed, I'm going to get one or order one online. All right, I'm going to. Yes, do it. All right, I see. I guess my live feed was buffering. Yeah, no, I see like a bunch of yeses now. Let's see. And then the parrot meatball. You know what? That's a good name. I think that'll be his name for sure. And it fits him because not only did I have the whatever kind of meatballs I ate, I think they're like chicken meatballs, but oh, that's kind of ironic. I'm drawing a bird and yeah, I guess he kind of looks like a meatball too. He's very, very round. All right, I'm gonna add, and I think when I yell or not really yell, but when I talk, I'm used to talking to the microphone on the phone here, but I'm not. My microphone's right next to my face, so I'm probably kind of wrecking your guys' speakers. I apologize for that. It's probably not gonna change. It's a force of habit. I've just accepted it, you know. I'm loud. All right, I'm gonna add some more white on the back of that parrot since most of the paint is out of this brush. So I'm getting mostly white, and I'm using just the box that I'm holding this paint in. You can't really see it, but I have the paint tint inside of a box because I tend to drip. I'm using the side of that box as like, uh, what do you call? As a paint tray or something. Why did I forget what that was called? Palette, as a palette. Wow, I must be tired. Managed to free. I literally was just talking about palettes too. Little random details in there. I'm keeping a little green square there. White highlights. That's what I need now. It's going to be a lot quicker, smaller than all the other highlights because I don't want it to be overpowering compared to all the other colors I put into this because that would suck. But so far, I think it's turning out kind of cool. You guys let me know if it isn't. I'll be a little bit sad if you tell me that, but at the same time, let me know if there's something noticeably wrong with it that you think I should change. Because right now I'm kind of working on the base of the rose. It's not done yet. I definitely have to go in with some fine detail. Oop, let's see. Looks very nice. Thank you very much. I am. I was a little worried at the beginning with how this was going to turn out, but most of my paintings follow exactly the definition of trust the process, I guess. Maybe I give it a new meaning. It turns out, or it starts out looking like maybe like it's a joke. And then it kind of works its way into being all right. I'm gonna add a little more highlights there, and I'm gonna actually hold this camera back and show you when I step back, kind of what I see. If I can get it out of my, there we go, out of my thing. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the live feed so far. I'm gonna take you behind my desk, and if I can focus the camera, that would be great. So you can kind of take a step back with me, see kind of what I'm seeing. And yeah, I have a bit of a messy desk, but you know, that's me, the messiest person, the messiest person I know. And that's coming from someone who's like literally helped clean up hoarder houses. Well, it's probably not that bad, but still, it's not great. All right, so now I'm gonna add some highlights, some very harsh highlights, apparently. That was not intentional. Just gonna kind of blend that in. On top of the leaves, here, here, and here. And I think Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, it's turning out pretty good, I think. I think if I come in with a little bit of black oil pastel for now, I can get the difference in color that I need. So add some shadows here, here, draw that up, make that look a little bit more curved. Shadows, because the leaves are in front of it, and shadows. And oh, that's kind of interesting. It just smeared it. Well, all experimentation at this point. I have never done this before, so if I mess it up somewhere in the middle, I'll probably fix it during the live feed, I hope. I guess we'll see. All right, so this is almost completely done. And I've been on here for an hour. That it took me an hour to draw that weird looking rose. I guess I'll do another live feed just to show you guys the final product and answer some questions then. So I'm just going to add a little bit more detail, like here, and again with the highlights, this time maybe not so harsh. That would be nice. And I'm just tapping the brush on it, just the very end. Try to get it to be thin. That was a very harsh pronunciation of thin. I don't think I needed to say it like that, but whatever. I am a very different person, I think. Even the words that I say, they're not wrong. No, they're different. And I'm going to hold you guys, take a step back with me. Oop, turning down the light a bit so you can see kind of what I see. And if I can get it to focus, that would be great. Like that. So I think, as of right now, that will be the video or the live feed. So thank you guys all very, very much for joining me. I'll do a little pan for you. Little oop, hands are shaking. At the end of the video, I'll be like, have music playing, and I'll pan around, get a little view of what I just did in front of all of you. There's you can kind of see the colored the colored dots in there. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the live feed. I know I did. It was great catching up with you guys, and I will definitely be doing another one of these soon because this was a lot of fun. You guys witnessed me learn a couple new techniques as well. So I'm going to read a couple comments, but I'm probably, oops, going to have to sign off pretty soon. Let's see. Gaston looks amazing. Let's see. Oh, I see. Ah, talking to my mom. That confused me. All right. So, oh, good luck on your test. Thank you very much. I spent a lot of time studying for it, so I probably, hopefully, should do good on it. That being said, I really hope you guys enjoyed the video or the live feed, and until next time, bye.